Thank you so much, Frederick. I can assure you all that you in this room, you write much better SQL than I do. So I'm nowhere near. Also, wow, it's pretty amazing to be in this room with all of you. Yeah, truly hard to understand, really. Today is all about community. Today is about forming connections, meeting people. Frederick talked about putting faces to avatars, and that's what it's all about. But I have one request, and that is, as the Dune CTO, I lead about 30 engineers and product managers in Dune, and they would love to talk to you. If there's one thing that we take away from this event, I hope it's conversations between the wizards here and Dune. We'd love to hear from you how you use Dune, what you want from Dune, and yeah, what you want us to build. So, we're talking about making crypto data accessible, and I'm here to talk about how we do that, or how we plan to do that, where we're headed. What does it take to get there, and what does it look like? I think it looks like this. This is where we're going. This is sort of the image we should have in the back of our minds when we think about making crypto data accessible. And yeah, I guess what the planet looks like when Dune releases something. Yeah, but first, let's talk about community, because it's so important. So when Dune started, I dare to say that community, the crypto community, the Dune community, it largely consisted of individuals and very small teams. There weren't a lot of money in Ethereum in 2018. There were in 2017, but not in 2018. So teams were pretty small, scrappy. And now it's quite different. How many billions have been invested into crypto? How many seed rounds, Series A's, Series B's? I don't know. How many products have shipped? A lot. How many L1s launched last year? A lot. And how many people have found jobs in the industry? It's thousands of people. So I dare to say that today, the crypto community, the Dune community, the Wizard community, is a community of individuals, but also organizations of all shapes and sizes. It's researchers here, there are journalists, there are product teams, engineering teams, entire companies, DAOs for this, DAOs for your grandma, DAOs for that, everything. And when I think about community, I think about collaboration. That's really what makes a community. You can't have a community if you don't collaborate. And on Dune, we collaborate every day. We all build on each other's work. Every time we write a query, every time we fork a query, every time we help someone in Discord, we pay it forward. And I think we really, together, advance sort of the knowledge about crypto and the industry that we're in. So I'm very pleased to say that Dune is going to become a lot more collaborative. And it all starts with Dune for Teams. So we're building a seamless way to collaborate with groups of any size on Dune. That means a shared workspace, team profiles, and leaderboards. It means that you can collaborate with different groups on different types of content, on queries and dashboards. You can be a part of as many teams as you like. A team can be a DAO. A team can be a company. It can be a group of just people. It can be a group of people with the wrong ideas about SQL formatting. But most importantly, it allows you to build together. That's the key part. And this is just the start. We're going to invest a lot in collaboration. So Frederick talked a lot about why crypto data is important, why it's interesting, and let's talk a little bit more about that. So Dune exposes about 500 gigabytes of Solana data every day. That's about 182 terabytes a year. The hypothetical sort of throughput of Solana is much bigger than that. And if you contrast that to Ethereum, it takes Solana just 20 days to produce data equivalent to the entire lifespan of Ethereum. And yeah, that's just mind-blowing. And really a different reality from when we started Dune, where I wrote some software that put data in a SQL in a Postgres database. Right? It's quite different. I think it's really the future of crypto is that. It's a lot more data. Today, Ethereum moved to proof of stake. I think we can do another round of applause for that. This is a monumental achievement that inevitably, ultimately, eventually will lead to a lot more data. Crypto, I think today, already, is the largest open data sets on the planet today. And how much usage does crypto really have? I think a fraction of what we aspire to, right? A fraction of the throughput of L1s, L2 scaling solutions combined. So if crypto does make it to its potential, there's going to be a lot of data for you to crunch, I think. And Dune will house the largest and richest open data set on the planet. That's what we're planning for. That's what we're building for. So yeah, we at Dune really have to internalize the future, really. One thing is the state of Ethereum today, the state of Solana today, the state of all the other L1s out there. The other thing is what happens when there are hundreds of millions of people using crypto. That's when it's get exciting. So we have to build accordingly. We have to build for that future. Already today, Dune runs 10 million SQL queries a month. That's the beginning. I think also when there's a lot more usage, obviously there's going to be a lot more of you crunching this data. And it's pretty mind-blowing scale already. It's going to get a lot bigger. I think about this a lot. And it has a lot of implications for how we design and build software at Dune. And it has led us to this thing that we call the Dune engine. So today, if you query on Dune, about 30% of the new queries that you make use our beta version of the Dune engine. It is the first prototype of an entirely new serverless SQL engine that allows you to query much bigger data set much faster. It's a custom-built data platform for the future. It's a query engine that's serverless and tailored to Dune's massive data set that's only growing. And it's basically infinitely scalable. As a user on Dune, you've never had to worry about spinning up a server. Think about CPUs or RAM. It's the experience that I think Dune pioneered, and it's evolving. I think if there's one request in this room, it's the ability to get more performance out of Dune. And that's coming. So one of the key features of the Dune engine is that we can essentially spin up a lot of different infrastructure to different users. The Dune engine is very flexible. And users on elite plans, which cost 1,337, by the way, will be released a little bit later, have access to infrastructure that's a lot more powerful than the community tier. The community tier will always be free. It will always offer an amazing experience, an amazing level of performance. But we know that there are people in this room that aspire to more and want their queries to run in 1 second instead of 10, and 10 seconds instead of 100. And we're building that. So starting in November, you will be able to get more performance out of Dune. And in addition to sort of the serverless experience of the normal tiers on Dune, enterprise customers can have dedicated infrastructure. I think that's going to be huge. Let's go back to community. Community produces a lot of dashboards, a lot of queries, a lot of content. A lot of people in this room has gone viral with dashboards. A lot of people in this room have raised seed rounds on dashboards. Produce a lot of amazing stuff. But you also, we don't talk about it a lot, but you also produce a lot of data. And you produce data in interesting ways. So I think the most interesting way is that when you create a query, well, the output of that is indeed data. So the Dune engine will allow you to query the results of any query. effectively meaning that you can build on top of the work of your friends, on top of your own work. You can, instead of having to change every query on a dashboard, you can change one and build on top of that. Eliminates duplication. And in effect, it sort of lets you build pipelines. If you couple that with something that's also coming, scheduled executions, I think there's really no limit what you can build with this. Another key way that you in this room build data is this thing that we call Spellbook. Spellbook is in a very boring way, it's a GitHub repository. But on the other hand, it's a way to contribute to community-made, standardized abstractions. We've completely redesigned this. The team has worked on building an entirely new experience based on the industry-leading ELT framework called dbt. And it allows you to develop, test, and document changes and contributions to standardized and leading data sets like DEX trades, NFT trades. It allows you to define your own tables, views, functions, and it has a revolutionary new workflow that lets you test these against live Dune data through GitHub Actions. Megan from the Dune team is giving a workshop after, and I would wholeheartedly recommend you to see that and play around with it, because it's truly unique. The other way that you can produce data on Dune today is community data sets. Dune is opening up a lot, and we've found that for the Dune team to be the only ones producing data onto the platform has been very limiting. And earlier this year, we released our first streaming community data set that was integrated by Flashbots. A team in the Dune community that, without much help from Dune, added their data sets to Dune. Data that you can only find on Dune, really. And that is the future of the Dune platform. A lot more data brought to the platform by you. So if you're interested in integrating sort of your data sets, you can reach out to a team member here today. We're building this as we speak. So what do you think? Are we getting closer to this stuff here? Hopefully. I think we're getting closer. I think there's, maybe there's still something missing. Maybe not living up to the hype, maybe something. There's one thing missing. And it's the thing that led to all of this. Ever since we built the first version of Dune, this is the first question on your minds. Probably each and every one of you in this room has probably DM'd Frederick about this sometime, or Boxer. It's been the thing that's kept me up at night. It's been very difficult to not have an API. It's also been very difficult to build. You saw some numbers on the scale. And ever since Dune got a tiny amount of traction, it's been in our future. You know that movie Dune? There's this guy called Atreides. He wakes up at night constantly and he sees his future. I've been like that. My dreams have been about the API. So what is the Dune API? Well, it's that little button up there. There's this small button for the Dune front-end engineers. It's a large step for the community. So the Dune API allows you to turn any query on Dune into an API endpoint. Your own query, or any of the hundreds of thousands of community-made queries on Dune. There's many ways to think about this, but the way I think about it, my favorite way to think about it, is that together in this room, we're building a living, breathing, always improving API that we can all build on. And yeah, just a little bit of a shout out. There will be a couple of workshops after where you can see how some community members already are using the Dune API. You can build anything with Dune data. You can build a learning. You can build monitoring. You can build bots. You can build oracles. You name it. I think there's really no limit. You can build to your heart's content. It's a phrase I like. And it opens up an entirely new world of development on top of Dune. It really blurs the lines between wizards and developers.
Developers, 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 developers! Developers, 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 developers!
Developers, 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 developers!
Ah!
Woo! Some big energy here. So we're incredibly pleased to say the Dune API is here today. Woo! Throughout DuneCon, ETH Berlin, you can email api@dune.com to get keys. It will be a self-serve experience starting in November. You can start building, you can start hacking today. And we can't wait to see what you build together.